Bienvenidos y bienvenidas. Welcome to PNN KXU Poor People's Revolutionary Radio at 96.1 on the dial in East Oakland, Huchiun territory, and streaming live online at www.poormagazine.org/radio. This is your co-host Muteado Silencio, con voces de migrantes en resistencia, in studio with fellow formerly houseless po' and Poverty Scholar mi canala Tiny, and you Poverty Scholar Tiburcio Garcia on the ones and twos.
Yeah, this is PNN, not CNN, people. That's Poor People's Revolutionary Radio. Broadcast live and direct from the small part of unsold, unpimped, unplayed Mama Earth that us houseless people call homefulness.
Politricks in the light of reset. On today's broadcast of Poor People's Radio, we speak with warrior resistors from Tovaangar to Yelamo, LA to Frisco, on the lies of the carceral reset program proposed by the San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie. Then onto the politricks in Tovaangar with warriors family from the LA street care. But first we go to Huchiun, aka so-called Berkeley, where disabled houseless residents face more harassment and street violence behind politricksters' lives.
Leptospirosis is very national and treatable with antibiotics. It spreads through contact with the urine of infected animals, contaminated water, or soil. Sanitation is the frontline defense. Displacement is not disease control. On January 13th, Judge Chen made it clear that the city cannot simply tell people to relocate. It must identify specific lawful places nearby where they can go, or explain why it cannot. None of that has happened. If this were truly about public health, the city would be providing sanitation, PPE, relocation assistance, and replacement survival gear. Instead, it is threatening arrest, showing that this is actually just another battle in the war against the homeless.
First of all, shout out to warrior, poverty scholar, houseless sister warrior Amber Lynn Whitson, who you just heard, speaking the truth always from the front line, one of our 4 News Network houseless reporters for Ruthless Radio, as well as shout out to Berkeley Homeless Union, right there on the front line always, us houseless folks speaking for ourselves. One of the things that's really important about what's going on in so-called hypocrisy Berkeley, as told to me by Anthony Prince from the Homeless Union and Poor People's Campaign, is that in all of his history of working with these settler towns, this is one of the meanest, consistently, to its houseless population. And I think that these settler towns who claim progressiveness or who have this veneer of progressiveness seem to be sticking it even harder to our houseless bodies. And it's absolutely terrifying, actually, because then all that people hear on the outside is, oh, it's Berkeley, or oh, that's San Francisco. And they don't know that, meanwhile, they're sweeping us like we're trash. More on this soon, and I do want to say, please support Berkeley Homeless Union, follow them on Instascam and all of those ways. The judge did rule a stay, thanks to the warrior work of Berkeley Homeless Union. And so we're going to find out, because best believe they will be coming back with this lie about, an illness that they've helped to create. So that gets us to our next settler town. Another set of lies that's got this veneer of supposedly help, with this frightening thing called the Reset Center.
San Francisco is officially taking a new approach to combat public drug use.
If you use drugs on our streets, we will arrest you. But with this new resource, we will also give those suffering from addiction a real chance to choose recovery.
Mayor Daniel Lurie signed legislation.
Yeah, whatever. So that's corporate media. This is poor people's media. So just wanted to make sure that that line got heard, because this billionaire wealth hoarder mayor has done so much to perpetrate more carceral systems and basically the arrests of houseless people. Don't be walking in Frisco and look houseless. We are supporting relatives on the street every day, and it's actually a violent war on the poor, and there's nothing good about the reset. So we have a badass warrior here who's going to give us some insider knowledge. Welcome, Leah, to Poor People's Radio. Hold up, we're trying to get sound. Sorry, fam. Say something, babe. We got it? The sound? Because I'm not hearing.
Yeah,
I think she's muted.
You might be muted, hon. No?
Stop. Muted.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
There you go. Okay. So, yes, sorry, hon. Leah, tell listeners and viewers what's really going on. What is this Reset Center about?
Oh, so I'm here to talk about the Vulcan.
Oh,
Oh. Wait, how did that happen?
And I'm Anne Marie.
that's Anne Marie.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so Leah didn't make it in?
I didn't see nobody else. That's the only person.
That's wild.
Sorry.
Okay.
So-
Sorry, listeners and
Sometimes
viewers.
somebody has
Welcome
a
to Poor
different
People's
name than we
Radio,
tell 'em, and-
where the stories got mixed up. I'm trying to figure out there. Okay, so we're gonna put that on pause, and best believe we'll be back with the Reset Center story because it's a big one. But we're blessed to have you come in and talk about this resistance move that happened with rent control, right? Led by the people. All right, tell us what's up because we need some good news. How about that? Go ahead, hon.
So this is 8 years in the making, and the Vulcan Tenants Union formed 8 years ago at the Vulcan. If people don't know, it's a huge artist live workspace in East Oakland. It used to be a steel foundry, and it was converted, and it's about 200 working class artists, the most jugglers under one roof in the world, so a lot of circus folks. It's a beautiful community. And 8 years ago, we started having meetings because the building owner, his name's John Protopopis, and I wouldn't say they're a property management company. They're more of a financial investment firm. And what they did was put the entire building up for sale on Zillow, and they marked in the description, the building needs a $4 million roofing repair. They might have not said the exact amount, but if you buy this and fix the roof, you can pass the roofing cost as a rent increase onto the tenants. So that would have displaced everyone living there because it was naturally affordable housing since the early 80s. So we were freaking out because that's the first, personally, that's the first place I was able to afford in Oakland, and I had a lofted bedroom. So I was a fashion designer at the time. I could have my own space that I could afford and a sewing studio above me. So it was deeply valuable, and the community was wonderful. Like being there during COVID was a lifesaver. So we organized, we're very lucky to have safer DIY spaces, find, they're called RAP lawyers. So the rent adjustment program, it's a board and a whole entity in the city of Oakland. The board's appointed by whatever mayor's in power. And there's hearing officers, which they're not exactly judges, but they have some legal experience. And then renters, individually or organized in tenant unions, can come in and petition harassment, habitability issues, or repair concerns. And in our case, an illegal rent increase, because we saw them put the building for sale and then they sent us a rent increase while ignoring all of our maintenance repairs. You can't raise the rent if your building is dilapidated and if you're not maintaining it. That's the point of rent, or it's supposed to be the point of rent.
Wow.
So let me know if you want me to keep monologuing.
Yeah. No, it's just, I'm blown away by this, I don't know, department or whatever, because I hadn't
Yeah.
heard about this rap thing, and I think that's really powerful information for listeners and viewers. Because yeah, if you have an uninhabitable place, which so many of us poor people have, if we're lucky enough to have a roof, most of the time there's serious habitability
Yeah.
issues, and there's never anybody to go to. So that's huge. I'm actually the opposite happens, which is you're kind of silenced. And what I'm curious about, well, first of all, I want to take listeners and viewers back because I didn't even realize it was Protopappus. That
Yeah.
was right. So that's a whole legacy of scam lording in
So many.
Huchiun. Yeah, and funnily enough, ironically enough, Poor Magazine's beginning days in 1998, when Jerry Brown came in, we did the Jerification project in downtown Oakland because, as you know, he was calling rent control slums and using all these tropes about poor people housing. And actually, his goal was to gentrify Oakland. There was no accidents to that. It all traces back, right? But Protopappus was literally one of the main slumlords at that time. And he's still there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can you tell listeners and viewers how you dealt with him at all? Or was there any interactions? And what was that like?
There was no interactions directly with him. He was the big boss. He has like 30 buildings. We had property managers who lived on site, and they were the ones who mainly kept it a hostile environment. And I want to quickly add that John Protopappus not only knew Jerry Brown, he was his financial campaign manager. So that's how they were so tight. It's same thing with Libby Schaff, who was the mayor at the time when we first started the rent control fight.
That
So
part.
he's deeply woven.
Exactly. And then going back to this rap thing, when did that get started and how do people access that?
Yes. So anyone living in Oakland can access that. There's extra protections for rent control buildings. So if your building is built before, I think it's 1983, might be 85. But anyone can apply. It's stronger if you have a tenant union because one person can get burnt out and it's good to have a team. You just petition the rap board. They're located at City Hall. So I'm sure they're on City of Oakland's website.
That is beautiful. And all you have to, so you don't have to have a lawyer.
No.
And you literally just come and they'll support.
Exactly.
That's amazing. That's
they
amazing.
assign you one. We fundraised for ours.
Wow. And so that's the other thing I wonder, because one of the fights, and I do want to be very clear about that, this is one of the reasons that so many poor people end up either staying in unsafe living conditions, right, or ending up houseless. Whenever my mom and me fought habitability issues, which were many in some of the messed up places we were at, right, even to fight a habitability issue, they will oftentimes require that you put up rent before you can even, it's so crazy. So you're right, you have no recourse. So I'm really interested by what you're saying, which is that you don't have to really just make this petition. And then the other question, though, I have is when you fundraise for the lawyer, what was the role of the lawyer? Because a lot of folks won't be able to do that.
Yeah, so it's wild. We're very lucky to have who we had. Leah Hess, who's this badass long-term tenant rights fighter in the Bay Area. This is actually her last case. She wanted to retire, setting a precedent for low-income housing in Oakland. And then Hasmik Gregoriam, she's incredible. So we had two lawyers. We raised $50,000 in 1 month, and this was a whole collaboration of all the artists. We put on a big showcase showing mostly circus acts, lots of fire arts, juggling, clowning. There's a lot of clowns at the building. Oh, it was really powerful. And we had this videographer who lived on in the building, Dan Ann, and she took interviews from, it was probably at least 30, maybe 40 people, made little 1-minute clips, pushed them out every day. And our GoFundMe, we had a viral, one of the videos went viral and we got so lucky, like big, a lot of news agencies picked us up, but Vice was the big one because there are a lot of famous people who used to live at the Vulcan. The band, oh, now I'm blanking on it. I can look it up.
Oh,
But
good.
yeah, there's some Grammy winners from the Vulcan and some amazing jam band, like experimental artists who came from there. So the reach is vast.
And so, but all I'm trying to figure out, because that sounds beautiful. But like if a family,
Yes.
right, who's teetering on the edge, like me and my mom were when we were barely housed, we're not going to be able to do a GoFundMe like that. There's no
Yeah.
way. And do you have to have a lawyer to take these rap cases all the way, or like, because that would be an obstacle. I'm just being real about that for poor
Yeah.
folks.
Definitely. So our sister building, which is the same building owner, same conditions, pretty similar layout, they did the same thing without fundraising a lawyer, and RAP appointed them a lawyer, and they won rent control 4 years faster than us.
That's beautiful. That's all I needed to hear. This is so dope. Again, what does that RAP stand for?
Rent Adjustment Program.
Okay, so people, I hope you heard that. That's some real beautiful resource work that I am sorry, as a poor person, I have not heard about, and I'm going to be definitely calling them. Anne-Marie, as we close out, any last words you'd like to tell listeners or viewers?
Yes. So tenant and neighborhood councils, TANK, they're the ones who helped us organize our tenant union. And if you have any questions about RAP, or if you want an expert to come into your tenant union as you're organizing RAP, they're a wealth of knowledge. They were so helpful for us.
Shay, thank you so much, fam. Thank you for taking the time, and sorry about the confusion. It's been a wild week. All right, so much love.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, you're listening and watching Poor People's Radio. That's PNN, not CNN, folks, where we make mistakes all the time because we're doing too much, just trying to survive. We are blessed to go down to our relatives in Tovaangar. I want to shout out to Edna Street Solidarity. I want to shout out to Reclaiming Our Homes. I want to shout out to all the ancestor warriors of homelessness and poverty in Tovaangar. As we know, it's hitting all of our settler towns, all of these settler towns that supposedly say they down, but they ain't, especially if you poor people, black or brown. So we are blessed to have a warrior comrade from LA Street Care, another badass movement in Tovaangar and so-called LA, who will tell us about a politricster who I think we need to deconstruct and, activate to liberate. Welcome to Poor People's Radio, relative.
Thank you. Blessings. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Sure. Can you tell listeners and viewers what's going on with this politricster, who they are, and if we could bring up a picture? But go ahead. Go ahead, hon.
Yeah, so my name's Chris. I'm an organizer with LA Street Care and Mutual Aid. Edna Street Solidarity is our sister org. And basically, this council member, Hugo Soto Martinez, is a democratic socialist. He campaigned 4 years ago on repealing LA's anti-camping ordinance 4118. In certain ways, 4118 is worse than just an anti-camping ordinance because it criminalizes existence in countless public zones. The council member himself compared this law to stop and frisk racial profiling because it leaves enforcement up to the discretion of LAPD. So two people could be sitting uh, um, right next to each other in one of these zones, and a cop could profile one person just based on nothing and not profile the other person. So when Ugo took office, arrests for 4118 in his own district increased 522% the first year. And he has refused to take any action on enforcement. He has voted against expansion of the law in other districts, but in his own district, where we're seeing this monumental wave of criminalization, he's done nothing in almost 4 years since he's been in office. So yeah, we put together a plan to hold him accountable, but it's really part of a much bigger plan to abolish this entire law.
Yeah, and I do want to let folks know and shout out, for instance, just to our relatives from LA Can as well, and all the warriors who have been so hurt by this codified violence. This really allows them to consistently sweep, arrest, harass. If you don't know about 4118, it's something that we've been reporting and supporting on for a minute, but it's a brutal and sick law. And I'm just kind of, a democratic socialist, and this is what he does? What? How did that even happen?
That is the standard in Los Angeles. We have 4 Democratic Socialists on the 15-member city council.
Wow.
3 of them are basically in the same boat as Ugo, and you know.
Oh, you froze, I think. Stay tuned. We're waiting on to get Chris back. If hopefully you got froze, you might have to come right back in, hon. We can't hear you. Oh, the phone's out.
No, they froze.
Okay. Come, you should check out and then come right back in. That's usually a good way. Hopefully, stay tuned, listeners. One of the things, too, about 4118, folks don't know, is, and I want to shout out to the other rep, Western Regional Advocacy Project, who's done work on it. Go ahead, Chris. Tell us what you were trying to say.
Oh, sorry about that.
No problem.
I was just saying, 4 of the city council members here are Democratic Socialists, and they are the ones who order the sweeps of the encampments in their own district. So this is something that we've been fighting for years now and trying to. It's been very eye-opening to see groups that claim to be leftists or claim to be abolitionists support these figures and refuse to kind of call out the violence and displacement that they have directly ordered on poor people.
Go ahead, Matt.
Again, just thank you for taking time to be here with us. And, it's sad to hear, but also not surprised to hear that these so-called progressive politicians, are the ones who are criminalizing our folks. One of the things that happened a lot here in the Bay Area, too, is that, unfortunately, is the own house community who end up calling, 311, who then It strikes action from DPW, which works with the city to remove people's belongings. So, and again, sometimes not understandable, right? Someone who's housed, who has the shelter, heat in their house, water, running water, hating, on someone who's literally sleeping on the sidewalks. Is that common also in LA, where some of the what we call the hater neighbors?
Definitely. We encounter um, neighbors who both tenants and homeowners who call the city council office and demand a sweep, and they're proud of it. And
Yeah.
you know, um, part of part of what this weekend we went and disrupted this council member's campaign launch to deliver this letter with folks who have been criminalized by 4118 in his district. Um, but part of this was like sort of the launch of a campaign to both repeal this whole law, but also to kind of educate people about the harms that 4118 and sweeps cause, because we're trying to do much more than just repeal the few dozen zones in this council members district. We're trying to abolish all kinds of stuff, and part of that is educating, I think, those neighbors,
Mm,
um, and shaming people when that's needed, um,
Yeah.
because we've seen a direct line from those neighbors calling the council office, and the council office placating them and ordering a sweep.
Yeah. That's so
wow.
real. First of all, I just want to appreciate you all for the work that you're doing and solidarity work. Badass mutual aid solidarity
Yes.
work. I just want to remind listeners and viewers that most of the relatives on the street, just like me and my mom, dealing with grave disabilities, elders, mostly in LA and Oakland, African descendant, in Frisco, mostly a lot of migrante and poor people. I mean, this is arguably the communities that DSA says that they're interested in supporting, right? But because we don't have access to a roof, suddenly we're not part of their constituency. And I really think it's always important to clarify that. Like I always say, whether I reside in a house, it doesn't negate my residency. So we need to deconstruct these words. You can be a resident in a town with or without access to a roof. And I think this is really crucial. I'm terrified by this veneer of progressiveness. It's the same thing we're dealing in hypocrisy. I call it hypocrisy Berkeley, where the council members in the districts where the houseless people are forced to be because they're pushed there, the council people are coming with this violent war where they're claiming that they have illness, that the animals are sick, and all these other things, just to consistently sweep and remove and criminalize every poor person they get. Um, I'm really curious for listeners and viewers if I don't know if you have a petition, if there's things that people, even if they're not in LA, although we have a lot of LA viewers and listeners, love you family, but are there things that people can do, places they should follow just to support this broader issue?
We don't have a petition right now for folks outside of the district, because we do have one for the specific district. We're trying to make like a specific point to the council member, but yeah, you um, this campaign to abolish 4118 is part of a burgeoning mutual aid union across LA, and it is decentralized and horizontal. So we don't have like a central account, but you can follow um, groups like LA Street Care, Etna Street Solidarity, and we will be sharing updates, because we will continue to escalate and continue to fight until we can liberate public spaces.
Ashe.
Yes.
Ashe.
Yes.
And the settler lie of public, which we know isn't really for the public.
We're there with you.
Exactly. We're 100% with that. I do want to say some really sad news, just because you brought up the Democratic Socialist thing, and it's heavy on my heart. Before we close out this segment, I just heard from our comrade warriors from Rent Refusers in occupied Lenape territory, aka NYC, that none other than, Mondami, who a lot of us were hoping would be different, has, before the snowstorm, said they were going to put sweeps back into New York. So don't get it twisted. Politricks ain't nothing but a trick, fam. And that's all the more reason why we have to support each other and work together in solidarity as community, both housed and unhoused, to deconstruct these settler lives of criminalizing every poor person it gets. Thank you, Chris, so much. Thank you, LA
Thank you,
Street
Chris.
Care. Appreciate you. All right. Shout out again to Edna Street Solidarity, our family, and Reclaiming Our Homes. And all the good folks doing this real work on the street with those of us who somehow people don't see as human. Having said that, we're going to hear one of our badass poverty scholar, elder scholar, incarceration scholar, segment hosts who came out of Poor People's Radio Workshop with his beautiful piece, an excerpt of his piece on the lies of ICE, which are really important because a lot of times, even in our poor communities and our houseless communities, we tend to think that's not my problem. Well, not at Poor People's Radio, because we talking about all the ways these are connected. So we're going to hear the amazing, the wonderful Dr. Sweet.
This is your host, Dr. Sweet. Once again, you are listening to Poor People's Revolutionary Radio on PNNKEXY 96.1 FM. Thank you for joining me here today. Today's topic, report, story.
Uh-oh. What happened?
I don't know.
What happened? Sweet.
Just paused.
Unpause it.
It's not paused. It like just stopped.
Oh my God, family. Just a day of fun and games over here at Poor People's
I
Radio.
didn't even do anything.
What the F? We lost poor Dr. Sweet. Is it? Oh,
Here, let's try it again.
okay, we're going to try one more time.
Okay.
Please stay.
Story, ICE on drugs. As of late January 2026, at least 6 to 8 people have died in the U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, ICE. I have key details regarding ICE-related deaths. In 2026, the murder of Alex Padilla. ICE in the news once again. The shooting of Alex Padilla. Evidence with the family.
I think we got to come back.
Yes.
Unfortunately, so we're gonna remix this and bring Dr. Sweet back next week, family. I do want to just shout out, as an elder poverty scholar, for Dr. Sweet to be doing this work is really an act of resistance again, which is why we do Poor People's Radio Workshop, which is why we do Poor People's Media and writing and poetry. So much love for us relatives who live through these things and then create our stories and our work out of that. That said, I also want to just remind folks that we will be having Leah come back next week and tell us the truth about the Reset Center, All Love and Power. to all of our Poor People's radio creators and media creators in Yalamu. Stay tuned because we're going to hear some of them as well. For those of you who don't know, we started Homefulness Yalamu, and there's a powerful group of warriors creating the real news on that violent settler town.
So that's all for this edition of Poor People's Revolutionary Radio. To get a complete podcast, you can go to Poor Magazine on SoundCloud or poormagazine.org or whatever you get your podcast from. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, Blue Sky, at Poor Magazine or at Poverty Scholar, or on Poor News Network on YouTube. All power to the people.
Power!
We'll get it right, y'all.